Welcome to SEG Seismic Sound Off, conversations addressing the challenges of energy, water, and climate. I'm your host, Andrew Gary. In this episode, we're heading to the coast with Shuhab Khan and David Bartel to learn how geophysics is protecting communities facing erosion and rising seas. Shuhab is leading a hands-on field trip at Matagorda Bay during Image 25, where students and professionals will collect real-time data using drones, spectroradiometers, and ground-penetrating radar to understand how our coastlines change and how we can protect them. We will explore why near-surface geophysics is essential for building resilient coastal communities, how Geoscientists Without Borders brings a humanitarian mission to our science, and how these field experiences help students and professionals gain valuable skills for a changing world. David Bartel, chair of the SEG Foundation, joins us for the second half to share how the Foundation's support makes fieldwork like this possible and why giving back to the science of geophysics creates a lasting impact for society. The full conversation with David can be found in episode 207, where we go deeper into how you can support the SEG Foundation's mission. Whether you're looking to build new skills, support humanitarian geophysics, or just want to get your boots in the sand while learning, this episode will show you why the Matagorda Bay Field Trip is an opportunity you don't want to miss. And Seismic Sound Off will be going live at Image 25. For the first time, we'll be on the floor interviewing geoscience leaders, gathering member testimonials, and amplifying the voices that shape our field. Follow SEG online for the release of the official schedule soon. And now, my conversation with Shuhab Khan and David Bartel. Shuhab, thank you for joining me to highlight this exciting field trip that we are going to be highlighting for Image 2025.
Yeah, we are also very excited about it. This is something that we want to highlight and we want to show to a lot of people about it.
So we are going to get into a little conversation about Matagorda Bay and the field trip at Image, but a lot has already gone in to make this experience and to make this immersive experience important and matter and get some academic and educational benefit. So could you just give us a little background about the research and the projects that have led up to this point for this Matagorda Bay field trip?
Yeah, this is excellent. That's very good that I give you some context for that. We are working in this region for several years, and specifically, there is one project that's funded by Texas Water Development Board, and for last 1 year, every month we go to 2 or 3 locations for that project, and we collect samples, water sample. We have boat that we go in boat to Trinity Bay as well as Matagorda Bay. And we have different locations where we go and we collect samples. We have some instruments that we collect readings. CCD is one that we will introduce to participant in the field trip. We collect water samples. We have spectroradiometer. We have drones. We do survey there. And the idea of this overarching goal of this project is that we want to develop a technique where we could use satellite to measure what is in the base, like salinity, like suspended sediments, other materials through space. But we are doing this through measurement every month. So that was the project. And now this SEG project that we got it, and Geoscientists Without Borders, in that we're going to be installing some instrument that's called moored instrument that would be recording every 15 minutes TSS and the water, how much water is there, and then the direction of the current, velocity, those kind of things. And we will be not going every month, but we will be going every 3 months to retrieve that data. So that was one project that we are working. And I'm working on another project where we go to 6 locations along Texas coast, where we are carrying out drone survey and geophysical survey to measure impact of hurricanes. When hurricane comes in, we already know what's the baseline. And then afterward, we go and we measure how much erosion happened, how much deposition happened, and we are monitoring this for last 2-3 years. So these 2 are the projects ongoing, and then we're going to be highlighting some of those things in our field trip.
Yeah, so highlight a little bit more of what participants can expect at this experience where they're going to go to Matagorda Bay.
So we will introduce them to the active processes which are happening at the moment. The barrier island, so Matagorda Island is a barrier island, and then we have Matagorda Peninsula. There are the two sides of the jetty. One side is rapidly eroding. The other side, because the jetty is trapping sediments, is growing. So what are we going to show them is what is the impact of erosion? What is the impact? How fast is the erosion happening? And how bays are playing the roles in getting and trapping sediments? And what are different factors that's playing role for the erosion and deposition? But how are we going to do that? There are some modern gadget and tools that's being used for those. We're going to introduce participant to those tools. These are geophysical tools. There are geological tools. So we would have this turbidimeter, water quality testing, CCD, those instruments. Then we would have EM, electromagnetic profilers. We will have ground penetrating radar, which sees shallow subsurface. And then we will have drone-based LiDAR and other sensors. Some of our EM could also be installed on drone, but that's a bigger drone and we may not use at that time. But we will introduce participant to these instruments. We'll collect data with them, and we would show them some of our data that we just collected maybe this month, maybe that data, that they could see the data, and then we will tell them what is the impact. Those are some of our goals that we will be doing it.
So it's going to be a very hands-on experience. Going to be using these tools. You're going to be seeing data. What role does near-surface geophysics play in understanding and addressing this coastal resilience and habitat stability on these barrier islands?
Shallow subsurface is really important for resilience. For example, groundwater, water table, looking at it, how it is, that control vegetation, and that controls, in turn, it controls erosion. Saltwater intrusion, that's another big problem in that region. Then the shallow subsurface stratigraphy is important. If we want to make artificial dunes to protect from erosion, we need to understand the internal structure of dunes. Plant roots and internal structure, they stick sediments, they stop erosion. So knowing that and replicating that is important. Similarly, the surface topography, how much is the elevation and what types of plant, that's also stop erosion. So we will be looking at surface, shallow subsurface, and then we will be looking with EM a little bit deeper, looking at the water table and saltwater intrusion. So those are very important key parameters that we want to measure.
You mentioned Geoscientists Without Borders are help funding some of the field trip project here. What makes coastal erosion in particular a humanitarian need for this area?
So just to give you an example, not far from Matagorda, there is a place called Sargent Beach. That is the world's fastest eroding coastline, 15 meter or so every year. If you go there, you cannot go there. There's a big sign, no trespassing, because it's so dangerous. It's almost all eroded away by Hurricane Bartel. So people are losing land, rapidly losing land. Then there is this other thing, sediments comes in bays. That's trapped, that's useful. So we have barrier island that's rapidly eroding. In Matagorda, we say 1 meter or so, sediments is going every year. Then in the backside, when we have sediments coming into the bays, that's trapped there. But then we have transportation, and we need to do dredging. We need to know how much sediment is accumulated and how that could be used for coastal resilience to stop the erosion or replenish the beaches. So it's in many ways, it's very important. But people are losing their homes and lands due to erosion.
Mm. Why do you think this field work is valuable for students, and not just students, but professionals and even experienced geoscientists?
So for students, for some, this would be the first time hand-on experience on so many diverse instruments. And then they will learn how to integrate this very diverse data, geophysical data, geological data, And not only it is important for geophysicists, but even broader community like ecologists, all of them, they could see it, how to collect the data and then how to integrate that. For early career geoscientists, it is important because coastal resilience is a growing field. There will be a bunch of jobs, there are a lot of importance to that. And for seniors, learning this integrated approach, they could apply this to many other applications, many other problems all over the world.
Is there something that someone who is going to attend this field trip, any resources, articles, something to read to kind of get them prepared for what they're going to experience?
There are a bunch of things. We have a couple of papers. If there is any link, we could put them. And then Texas Journal Land Office, they write their books. They have, I could send you the link for that also. They have very detailed description of coasts and specifically about Matagorda. So I could share those and maybe you could put those links.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for that. One of the unique things I think about this field trip is that it's a very low cost add-on if you're attending Image, very low cost. And then you can also just sign up for the field trip, and if you can't attend the conference for whatever reason, why might someone just attend this experience itself even if they're not at Image this year?
So we kept it very broad because coastal resilience is a very broad problem. Obviously, geoscience is very important for that. Geophysics is important for that, but its ecologists are important. Plant biologists, engineers, it's an important. So we are keeping it open. So if somebody is not interested in hardcore geology or geophysics, they could still come to this trip and get the experience and get the experience on instrument and on this problem. And that's why we are keeping it broad and open to everyone. As I said, we are working on this problems for years. So we wanted to share with others and make them part of it, this very needed problem in coastal resilience.
What do you hope participants will take away from the trip, both scientifically and personally?
So personally, they will see the use of this important tools and integration. And then scientifically, they will see the kind of, they could start thinking about the factors, geological, environmental factors that's playing role in coastal erosion, sedimentation. So there are many things like urbanization, we have industrialization, we have natural processes. There are so many things. The water quality is changing, sedimentation is increasing, erosion is happening. So they will scientifically see the factors and how this interplay of these different processes are in action. And then they will get hand-on experience on these amazing instruments.
You know, Geoscientists Without Borders, it focuses on its humanitarian mission of applied geophysics. You know, this could be someone's first time being exposed to this humanitarian side of a science and a technical discipline that they have. What would you like participants to know about using geophysics in this humanitarian way, in this helpful way, such as studying coastal erosion?
Yeah, so generally when we think of coastal erosion, we will not be thinking geophysics. We think of geophysics for petroleum and other things, but geophysics is so important. It's everywhere. And with this coastal erosion, shallow subsurface become more and more important. So seeing shallow subsurface through geophysical tools, and then this coastal resilience, this coastal problem. I think this is one of the biggest problem with the current sea level rise and all of those factors, the frequency of hurricanes increasing over time, all of them make it very important. So it's a real problem. It's close to us, especially for Texas. It's all along, we have a long coastline. All along, coastal communities are impacted by this. And applying geophysical tool to those is really important. So learning and knowing about that is really important.
And lastly, here, you know, speaking to the greater Houston geophysical community and the Image attendees, you know, as they are making their plans for what to do when they're there, what would you like to say to encourage them to sign up for this field trip?
This would be a really interesting trip to a beach. So we're going to a beach, and we will have guided trip to a beach. We will know about that beach. Maybe many of the historian may be going to Galveston, but they may have not gone to Matagorda. It's really nice to see that beach, then see so many different. We have geophysicists, geologists, remote sensing experts. We will be demonstrating those tools, or people will be using hand-on experience, and they will also see how fragile our coasts are and how these processes are in action. So there are many aspects to it: aesthetic, scientific, and knowing about it, journal knowledge improving. So I would say that this would be a really good experience.
Yeah, and it'll be a great icebreaker when you are speaking to anyone at Image about this amazing field trip experience and all the hands-on that you had. So Shuhab, thank you for highlighting this. We will put the links to the things you mentioned and things to prepare, and maybe you just want to read these resources even if you can't attend. So thank you for highlighting the work that you are preparing for at Image.
Thank you. Yeah, nice talking to you.
You wrote an article in November's The Leading Edge, which we'll link to in the show notes for this episode, about something called Next Geo. What is Next Geo?
Next Geo is the SEG Foundation initiative to help fund the foundation and provide additional funding for SEG programs that help advance the science of geophysics, support our members, and demonstrating how to use geophysics to make an impact on society.
Can you explain this program, the SEG Foundation Trustee Associates?
Yes, the SEG Foundation Trustee Associates are individuals that have shown their commitment to SEG and the foundation. These individuals have donated at least $10,000 to support the foundation annual fund, or $25,000 to a specific program such as GWB, or an endowment, could be for scholarship or GWB or something else.
Outside of even just a financial donation, are there other ways that the trustee associates support the SEG Foundation?
Yes, there is. I mean, many of the trustee associates are also mentors, say in SEG Evolve, or involved with committees with SEG. So they really do help support our programs that way, as well as with their financial contribution.
Who are some current trustee associates?
Well, my wife, Becky, and myself. And if you look at some of the current SEG officers, such as Arthur Chang, Ken Tubman, John Eastwood, past SEG presidents, Rocky DeTomo, Anna Shaughnessy, Bill Abriel, David Monk. And there's some other great supporters of the foundation that are also trustee associates. Mike Forrest comes to mind, Hank Hamilton, Jeff Springmeyer, Mark Leonard, Edith Miller, who I worked with for many years, Fred Hilterman, and Leon Thompson. I hope some of these names are familiar to many, but we have almost 200 trustee associates, so I'm sure you know someone.
Yes, that is a who's who list, really, in a lot of ways there. Are there some common misconceptions you kind of come up against about how the SEG and the SEG Foundation collaborate?
Yes, it seems that many members think that their membership dues help pay for most of these programs. And in reality, if we didn't have the foundation there to provide through the contributions to provide support, most of these programs really wouldn't exist. The membership dues don't pay a whole lot here. Geoscientists Without Borders was a thought of a director, former foundation director from Schlumberger, and Schlumberger got behind it and really started it. And now it's one of our most well-liked programs.
What are some of the benefits to the person giving to the foundation that you might want to highlight?
Well, I suppose, yes, we have donor recognition, but I think the main thing is helping giving back to the science of geophysics that, a lot of people have gotten good careers out of. Myself, I was an SEG scholarship recipient, and I wanted to start giving back and had the means to do so. And through that, became more involvement with the SEG Foundation and helping raise more money. And I was also involved when I worked for Chevron with the Student Leadership Symposium. And it's so great to see these students come in, and even in 2 days, they've all of a sudden become fast friends and see the results of the program.
How can people give to the foundation?
Well, the simplest way is to go to the SEG website and find the foundation drop down on the top and click on Donate Now. You will have to log on to your SEG account, but you don't need to be a member to have an SEG account. And go ahead and donate. And any amount you can give will help make a difference.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Seismic Sound Off. SEG creates these episodes to celebrate and inspire the geophysicists of today and tomorrow. Learn more and become a member today at seg.org. Be sure to follow Seismic Sound Off on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen so you never miss an episode. If you have feedback, episode ideas, or want to sponsor a future episode, we'd love to hear from you. Please email us at podcast@seg.org. This episode was hosted, edited, and produced by me, Andrew Gary at Treasurement. The SEG podcast team is Robin Dupree, Kathy Gamble, and Allie McGinnis. Thank you for taking the time to support the science of geophysics with us. Until the next episode, this is Seismic Sound Off, signaling off.